Can't believe how many of you there are here. Welcome. I'm so excited for tonight. As you guys know, you're here for a Latka making demonstration. And if you're participating, that's awesome. With chef and cookbook author, kosher chef and cookbook author, Danielle Silver. We're so happy to have her with us tonight. I'm Danielle Faber. I'm one of the co-chairs of the JNF Future Executive Committee, and I'm on the board for the Hanukkah Committee, which has been so much fun planning for this super fun Jewish holiday that we all love. And I don't know, I'm sure many of you have been to JNF events before or are familiar with us, but I'll tell you a little bit about kind of JNF as an organization and what JNF Future and how it does and how we fit into the organization. So many of you are, I'm sure, familiar with JNF as the tree planting organization, but we've evolved. We now really consider ourselves like the infrastructure building organization in Israel, and we have projects all over the country that really speak to that, including the JNF Future project that we've been supporting over the last few years, which is the Jaffa Dalit Center. The Jaffa Dalit Center is in Jaffa. It is a center for, underprivileged children and youth in Jaffa. And we're building a second floor to that center to double the capacity for kids to be able to come there after school, before school, get a hot meal, do activities. So that's what we've been working on at JNF Future for the past 2 years. And we got some great news today, and it looks like that project is moving forward. We're so excited about that. But we have a few more dollars left to get us past the finish line. So if you haven't made a donation yet, I'm going to ask Ruhi, maybe she can put the link in the chat and you guys can access it there. Our goal for Hanukkah is $10,000 and we're already halfway there. So every dollar helps and we're really, really close to the finish line. In addition to that, I'll say that the instructions for tonight's webinar is we're asking you all to keep your mics muted so that Daniela can explain everything and, we can have a clear airways for her to speak and share all her Latka wisdom with us. And if you do have questions, we will have a Q&A at the end. So type your questions into the chat. You can direct them to everybody, or you can direct them to the host, which I think is denoted, but it's Ruhi Shanehouse. So you can send them either way, and we'll get to a Q&A at the end. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Daniela, who, is sharing her time with us, and we're so grateful. She is an exciting personality in the world of Jewish cooking. She combines an amazing sense of style and presentation with an understanding of what makes food wholesome and nutrition. And as a busy mom, she loves to cook, and she knows how to create fast, simple meals with fresh ingredients. And you guys probably know her from her best-selling cookbooks, The Silver Platter, Simple to Spectacular, The Silver Platter, Simple to Spectacular.
And Variations. That's my last
And
book.
Variations is the second one, yes.
No worries.
So please, Daniela, take it away and teach us things that we don't know about Latka making.
Okay, sounds good. Well, before I start, I just want to thank JNF and JNF Future for having me. It's a real privilege, and thank you all for coming. I know webinars, Zoom, it's not always the easiest, but once you get into it, I think it's really exciting. So thank you all for coming. Today we are making latkes, and I'm going to tell you everything I know about latkes. But before we start, I just want to introduce myself. So once again, my name is Danielle Silver. For anyone that doesn't know me, I have 3 cookbooks. This is the Silver Platter. I have this one, Simple Elegance. And then this one is my most recent one, a year and a half ago. This is called Variations. So I'll just tell you how I got started. About probably 6-7 years ago already, a few of my kids had some allergies, and I started creating recipes on my own. I wanted them to feel comfortable. I wanted everyone to feel good, and recipes that didn't have a lot of ingredients. And I just kind of started coming up with recipes on my own. And one day I had like a good amount of recipes. I was like, you know what, maybe I'll do something with this. Maybe I'm going to write a book. And luckily, I'm sure you guys have all heard of Noreen Gillett. She's one of the most amazing women. She also passed away last year, which was very hard. She happens to live in Toronto. So I called her up randomly and I said, hi, I am Danielle Silver. Luckily, I live in your city. I am interested in possibly writing a cookbook. And I just need to know if I have potential, because if there's anyone that's going to tell me, it's going to be you. So luckily she was so sweet. She answered my calls. She let me come over and I showed her what I had. And she really just took a chance on me. And I kind of went to Noreen Gillett's culinary school and we decided to collaborate. So my first book is called The Silver Platter. So they're all my recipes. And then she kind of does her notes and tips down at the bottom. All my recipes are super easy. Everyone has busy lives. Nobody wants to be in the kitchen for a long time. So I kind of feel the same way. So fresh, easy recipes that you could throw together that look delicious and taste great for a family and for everybody. So that was my first book. And my second book is called Simple Elegance. When this one came out, I decided I wanted to stay on the same lines of, easy recipes, things that, you can whip up in a few minutes. And, but this one, it's with Simple Elegance, has a little bit of a different twist on it. And that twist is that it has a little bit of an entertaining feel. So it's not that the recipes are more complicated. It's that every recipe has a little bit more detail. So it's the topping on the salad or the soup or the presentation. And that's basically, the concept of this second book. And then when I came out with my third book about a year ago already, a year and a half, this one is totally different. I did this one on my own. This is called Variations. And I figured, we all take recipes and we kind of have our own spin. And I kind of wanted to show everybody that they could do the same and they should do the same. So I decided to create recipes that have two ways of doing it. So hence the name Variation. So you can see from the cover that this is my Rainbow Bright salad and it's mixed up. All of these ingredients is mixed up. So if you want to serve this to your family, to your friends, to your whatever it is, you can do it like this. But then there's always other ways to serve recipes. And as you can see in the bottom, I've done it in kind of sections. And these are all the same ingredients, just two ways of showcasing it. So if you go through this book, there's just different ways of showcasing each recipe, one in one. So you kind of get like two for the price of one, but still, with the same concept that I have for all three books, that all my recipes are pretty simple, fast to make, healthy, and yeah, that's basically it. That's the story behind my three cookbooks. I see you have a little helper here helping me. Anyways, so just like they said, if you guys have any questions, then please, we'll save them for after. We'll have them for after. And okay, I'm gonna get started. So I'm sure you guys have all made potato latkas before. I know I do. I grew up on them. I have to say, I think my mom's in the audience here. We grew up not only on fresh, but those boxed ones too. And I have to say, I love them. Those boxed potato latkas are just as good. But tonight we are going to make fresh potato latkas. This is a really simple recipe. I'm going to show you how to do it. And then the key to tonight is that I'm going to show you 4 different toppings, so everyone has different tastes. Everyone likes different things. And I'm going to show you a few different salads, a few different things to top on your latkas to just kind of elevate that plain, simple potato latka. Okay. So does anyone have any questions just to start, or we're good?
There was one question, Danielle, from the audience.
Okay.
Before we get started, if you don't have potato starch on hand, what can you use as a substitution?
Thank you. Okay, so you, instead of potato starch, you can use flour. That's fine. Okay, perfect. Okay, so let's get started. I have my computer here, so I'm kind of just going to go up and down, and then we'll move to the stove. I'll move you guys with me because it gets a little bit complicated. So the first thing we need for our potato latke recipes are potatoes. So I always use Yukon potatoes just because it's easy. It comes in one big bag, and I kind of takes like 2 weeks, and they're easy and they're always good. If you don't have Yukon, you can use white potatoes, anything you want, okay? So this recipe calls for 6 potatoes, and I've already cut mine. So as you can see, I'm about to put them into the food processor, but I've already peeled them and just cut them into chunks. In order to fit them into the food processor, you got to cut them just like that so it will fit in. Okay, I'm just going to move you over here so we can move here. You know, it's so funny. When I started cooking, I always thought a food processor was so scary, this machine here. But once you start using it and get the hang of it, it's really a lifesaver. I remember Noreen, I think she has a whole book on the food processor. But really, if you're going to peel potatoes for potato kugel, for latkes, this really saves you so much time. So there's different shredding mechanisms for this. This is called a shredding disc, just like that. So this is the one I use. There's also an S blade that goes down at the bottom, but this one, to get like the right amount of, you know, potato strings, this is the one I use. So I'm just going to open up the feeding tube here and feed the potatoes and the onions in there. And there's one onion too. So it's going to get loud for a second, so just bear with me. Of course, it needs to be plugged in. Okay, just one more. Okay. As you can see, I was very loud. Sorry about that, but it really didn't take a lot of time at all. Also, another thing about this recipe, about any recipes, is like I said before, they're always versatile. So if you don't want to make regular potato latkes, you can absolutely switch this up and use sweet potatoes, and that will work just as well. Okay. So now that the potatoes and onions are shredded, and like I said before, I'm going to show you what it looks like. This is what you want. So you want nice kind of long shredding pieces like that. And this way, when it fries in the oil, I'm going to put it into the bowl. When it fries into the oil, you know, the best part about the latkes is like the little, when it fries into like the little crunchy parts, and these little shreds of potatoes are actually going to give you the crunchy part of the latkes. Okay, we're going to do like a little shifting here. Sorry about that, but okay. Now that I'm back here and I have my potato latkes, I want to tell you it's really important for any latke recipe to drain out the potatoes, because the potatoes actually produce a lot of juice. And if you use the juice, then the potatoes will be watery, and you really don't want that. So normally, I don't really have one tonight, but you can use a colander or something to squeeze it out. Right now, I'm just going to use my hands, just make life easy, but I promise you it works. And I'm just going to show you just over the sink. You see all that juice? This is unnecessary juice, okay? Because we're going to be adding to this eggs and baking soda and some salt and pepper and some potato starch. So we don't need all the liquid of the eggs, of the potatoes. We're going to add our own flavoring. So just like that. And like I said before, also, if you use sweet potatoes, they also produce a lot of liquid that you don't want to use. Okay. I think that's good enough. My eyes are actually burning from the onion. That happens. All right, I'm going to take my gloves off. Get a spoon. All right, now we're going to start with our filling for this. So we have 2 eggs. So I'm going to put these guys in. I'm going to have 1 tablespoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon, sorry. I have a little bit of pepper, and I have some salt. And one more, I have potato starch here. And like I said before, if you don't have potato starch, then you can absolutely use flour. I happen to have a daughter who's gluten-free, so I kind of try to make things in the house that, you know, we can all have. we can all eat.
Danielle, actually a question from the audience about the usage of flour. If you're using flour instead of the potato starch, is it the exact same measurement?
Yeah, you can use the same amounts. It will bind it nicely. It won't be too starchy with that. It will just settle the potatoes nicely because you need something to hold it together. Okay, so as you can see, this is my mixture, and I'm gonna move you guys back to my stove. Actually, this is my first demo where I'm going back and forth like this. Okay, so I am going to start frying these guys up. So I have my frying pan. Okay, this is a non-stick one, which I like. It makes life easy, and I'm going to add my oil. All right, I'm just gonna start heating this up. So the oil, everyone always asks me like what kind of oil I use for frying, and honestly, the one I like is the grapeseed oil. Has anyone, I don't know if anyone's heard of that one. Can't see. Anyways, the grapeseed oil actually has a really great tolerance for the high heat. If you use like an olive oil or something like that, it will burn. So this grapeseed oil is really what I use for frying. Vegetable oil is also pretty good. I use that for baking, but this one I use for frying. So what I'm doing is I'm actually, oh, you can't even see it. I'm using a cookie scoop, okay? Because everything I do, I actually use cookie scoops for cooking, for baking, for frying, because I like everything to be uniform, kind of the same size, because why not? So my oil is not 100% hot yet, just because we're doing a cookie demo. I don't want you guys to have to wait for so long. But normally, I would say heat up the oil so it's really, really hot. And then take your cookie scoop and then scoop about 4 or 5 into your pan. I'm going to show you. And then what you can do also, I'm going to move this away. You can take your cookie scoop and just as you kind of scoop it out, and just flatten them out slightly, just like that. Okay, I actually hear them sizzling, which is so nice. All right, I'm gonna show you guys. So as you can see, the oil is hot, the grapeseed oil, and my latkas are sizzling. Okay, that sound is already the sounds of Hanukkah. And I actually made a batch for dinner already, which I'll get to after, but I walked into the house today and it's so unbelievable. When you make latkes, it smells like Hanukkah. It's not even Hanukkah today, but everyone in my house says we're a day early, but like it literally, you feel it.
Daniela, it's funny that you bring that up because somebody asked about, I don't know if you want to get to this after, but somebody asked about the smell in the house and if you have any tips on, getting it out if you want, or keeping it in if you love it because it reminds you of Hanukkah.
That's actually a really funny question. I kind of need the advice for myself too. I don't know. But normally I have a fan here. I always put a fan on, and that way, oh, I see someone says light a candle. That's a good idea. I always, when I fry, I keep a door open to let the air go through. I know, because frying these guys really, yeah, it smells up the house. Definitely. Use Febreze. That's a good one too. So I've just prepared here. I don't know if I'll get to it, but so I always keep handy right next to where I'm frying, whether it's latkes, whether it's egg rolls or anything, like just any plate or a pan, and I just have a paper towel because all of this stuff is so oily, and although we are excited to eat all the oil, it's nice to just have it drain off a little bit so that it's not super oily. So I leave this right here, and once I flip them, once they're done, they go straight onto the pan. And I'm gonna show you something else, 1 second. Just a little tip. I know these are done already, but if you want to make these ahead of time, whether it's a day in advance, whether it's a few hours before, I made these for dinner tonight just so I had what to show you. Don't have to wait for so long for these. But reheating them is really simple, and you literally put them onto a baking sheet with some parchment paper, throw them back in the oven at 350, 375, and they crunch up within a few minutes. And really they taste like fresh latkes off of the frying pan, and you're able to, you know, give yourself more time, do it in the middle of the day. So these are my latkes, and I promise you they tasted so amazing. Okay, so these are still cooking up. I'm gonna flip them. They're not so hot. I don't want to do it so hot, but just a little advice also. If you're going to do this method, what you can do is just lightly fry them in the frying pan and then transfer them straight to a baking sheet and have them bake the rest of the time in the oven. This way they're not super deep fried. They are baked mostly, and you just get that nice sear from the oil. Okay, so I'm just going to show you this quickly and then we'll move on to the toppings. Okay, so it's going to take like a few minutes, but I flipped one of them or two of them, but it's going to take a while. Okay.
So Daniela, maybe while we're waiting for those to crisp up, you don't mind answering a few questions?
Sure.
Yeah. So the first one is a question about how do you keep the potatoes from turning brown? If you're making a lot of potatoes and they're in the bowl, how do you prevent them from browning?
You could shred the potatoes and then, like, let's say you want to do it early in the morning and then fry them like later. I would not create the mixture. I would maybe just shred the potatoes and then soak them in water. And then just like the method I did, drain them out of all the water before. That will for sure keep them from browning.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And then I know you talked about the oil when you were putting the grapeseed oil on the pan, but do you mind just going over the alternatives you can use instead of grapeseed oil?
For sure. I mean, most people don't have grapeseed. It's just the oil that I use. They do sell it everywhere, but any kind of vegetable oil or canola oil, anything will work 100%.
Okay,
yeah.
Great. And good tips. And so the last one we have for now is what's your suggestion on the best way to freeze latkes?
Freezing them, I would fry them, let them rest so they're cool, freeze them, and then line them up on a baking sheet like I had individually, like arrange in a single layer, and then bake them in the oven. And that, just like I said before, it will crisp up nicely and you're good to go.
Okay. And last question for now is, can you use avocado oil for frying?
Yeah, you for sure can. I've actually never used it. I know it's like very trendy right now. I don't know. I'm sure you can, as long as it doesn't give like any kind of flavor. I know the coconut oil has like a coconut taste. I don't love that. But if the avocado oil is more neutral, then go for it for sure. I'm not like, it's very easy. If you have it in the house, use it. That's what I think. You can't go wrong.
Great.
Okay. Are those all the questions?
That's it for now.
Okay. Sounds good. I think we're going to go on to all of our toppings. Okay, so I have 4 toppings to show you. My first one is more of a traditional sour cream topping. So if you ask me, sour cream is my favorite thing on Hanukkah. I love it. I don't think I eat it any other time of the year. The dairy thing. I have 2 chefs around me now, sous chefs. Okay, so we have sour cream. I'm just going to mix that up. I'm going to add to this a little bit of lemon juice, just like that. I'm going to add a little bit of pepper, which will be a nice little like black sparkle in here. And then some fresh dill, which will be really nice as a topping. Okay, guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up all my toppings, and then I'm going to show you how to top them. Okay, so this is the first one. And then with this, we're going to top this one with pomegranate seeds. So this is number 1. I'm going to put this aside, and then we'll get back to it after. Okay, my next one, we'll go straight into a meat one because we just did a dairy one, is my deli topping. You know what? I think like it's just fun if you have, you know, if you're eating latkes like the whole time, or you want to do a party, or you want to serve this as an appetizer, even Friday night, if you want to just use one of these toppings, it just makes a little bit different, you know, and I'm always about like simple but different. So this one is a deli topping. So I have turkey here. Now you don't have to use turkey. If you want, you could use corn. You can use corned beef, salami, really whatever you want. Here's some pickles, a little bit of honey, and then some Dijon mustard. So this is like a Dijon deli topping. And I'm just gonna mix this up. This one is really good. I smell it and it's amazing. And the honey, oopsie, the honey gives it like a really nice sweetness. I'm making a big mess. Okay, so we got 2 toppings so far. I'm gonna put this aside and we'll move on to another one. But first I have to clean my area. Too messy for me. Okay. I don't know about you, but I really like a clean working space. All right, my next topping is, this is an avocado topping. Avocados for the last while have been pretty trendy, so I thought maybe it'd be nice to have this. And also, like, this is a cute breakfast idea also, like a little potato hash brown, top it with some avocado and some tomatoes, red onions. Like, that sounds really good. So leftovers in the morning is a nice option. Okay, so we have the avocados, some red onion, a little bit of cherry tomatoes chopped up, a little bit of salt and pepper, salt on this side, and then some lemon juice. And the lemon juice will just make it fresh, very fresh tasting. All right. Let me mix this up and I will add it to my pile. Oh my gosh, this smells so good. This is like a yummy salsa. Like I said, this is real. This reminds me of a breakfast. 2 eggs, a hash brown, and this topping is perfect. Okay, so that's that topping. Then I'll move on to one more. This one is more, I guess, Israeli a little bit because of the artichokes. And this one also has more of a like salsa feel. Need a spoon? Okay, so these are artichokes. These ones are from a can. I don't know if you guys have ever seen them from a can. They are so easy. They're the artichoke hearts. You chop them up. These are great in a salad or for these Latka toppings or really anything. I always add them to my salads. So I have the artichokes, tomatoes again, red onion. I'm running out of room here. A little bit of pepper. And then some garlic. So I have minced garlic. You can use a fresh clove or you can use already minced garlic in the fridge, make life easier. This smells amazing. Tons of garlic. Okay, and this is the artichoke one. Now that I'm done all the toppings, let's make this look pretty. Okay. Here, I'll do it so you can see. So I have 1, 2, 3, and then I got 1 dairy one over here. Okay. A nice thing to do also is you can have a board or you can have all your Latkas, you know, out for all your company or your family. And then you can have a whole spread of all the toppings and they come with their plates and they choose what they want. That's also a really nice idea. In the meantime, right now, I'm going to take a board because I always use some kind of board and I am going to place the Latkas on here. Well, a bunch of them. So I have, let's say 1, hold on. As you can see, I'm always plating everything. All right, so I have 1 Latka, 2 Latkas, 3 Latkas, okay, for my 3 toppings. And then I'm gonna take a little bit of each one and I'm just gonna put it on the top, just like that. Okay, and these can be served plated, they can be served just like as a buffet. Okay, now I'm going on to my deli one. This is like a honey mustard deli, which smells amazing. Also, you can make these latkes a little bit bigger. These ones are a little bit on the smaller size, but if you know that you're going to be topping them, you can make them just a little bit bigger to have more room. Just like that. And like I said, if you want to change this up, you can use, you could use corned beef or salami or something else. And then my last one here, I'm going to put on my avocado, which looks amazing, smells so good. Move that away, and I'll try to add one more avocado. Okay, there we go. So these are my 3, and then I need to get, hold on. I have a dairy board here. I'm gonna put this here for my dairy one. Okay, and then I got on this side here, I have my sour cream with the dill, which is my favorite. I think I'm gonna eat this after. And then you could top this with either pomegranate seeds, which is what I suggested, or you could top it with smoked salmon for like a dairy version. I really should have seen that. Just like that. And this one is so pretty, smells so nice, more on the traditional side. And that is pretty much it. So as you can see, I think you guys can see, these are my 4 toppings for the latkes. It's just a little variation and a cute ideas for Hanukkah. A pretty simple recipe and then toppings of your choice. So I hope you guys enjoyed and learned something, how to make latkes and kind of spice it up whichever way you want. And I guess I'll take any questions now.
That looked amazing. I am regretting not following along in real time, but of course, my food processor is actually my mother's food processor, so it's not in my home at the moment, unfortunately. I saw a lot of comments. People are talking about different ways that they, have made latkes growing up, and that's so great. I actually have a question. I'm wondering about like non-traditional additions to latkes, like carrots or other root vegetables. Like, have you experimented with that? And like, do you have any tips on, making sure that they're crispy and, have all of the same traits that we love about latkes if we were adding other things?
I think the root vegetable idea is great. You could do, it's just coming to my head right now, but you know how they have those zoodles already pre-made? You could literally turn that into some kind of latke and make it crispy. My only recommendation is if you use the beet one, they definitely will dye your hands. So be careful about that. But for sure, I know people do zucchini ones and they turn out great. And parsnip, actually in my first book, I have a combination between potatoes, like Yukon potatoes, and also parsnips, which give it like, they're actually sweet. Parsnips are really sweet, and that is a really nice flavor. So that's just like another actual latke change up that I do.
Love that. Mm-hmm. If there are any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. And if not, we want to say thank you so much, Daniela. I saw some people following along. If there are any questions from them, because you're doing it in real time, now's the time to ask, because you have Daniela here with us.
Okay.
But if not, maybe we want to stick around for another couple minutes, Daniela, and wait if people who are actually following along have questions.
Okay, I see someone has a question. Do I ever put cinnamon in your latkes? That's cute. My mom used to do that. Yeah, for sure. I don't know, do we do that? I think cinnamon sugar is a thing also to put on latkes. I'm remembering. It only comes back to you like during the holidays, but cinnamon sugar for sure. That sounds really good and familiar to me. It's a big toss up every year. It's like, do you like sour cream? I think someone asked me today, do you like sour cream? Do you like applesauce? For me personally, I'm a big sour cream person, but I think my husband likes, applesauce. I don't think my kids like anything, obviously.
Okay, thank you. We have another question. So someone's asking, what oil do you think is the healthiest to use for this?
So I would suggest the grapeseed oil. That's like the healthiest oil to fry in. But like I said before, canola or vegetable oil is easy and everyone has it. If you have it, just use that.
Okay. And maybe you can talk about preventing the potatoes turning brown again and how to freeze. Someone missed that a little bit earlier.
Okay, so if you're gonna freeze, make the latkes as the recipe says. Let it cool. Store them in however a tinfoil pan. Freeze them. When they come out, let them thaw. Put them onto a baking sheet. Bake them in the oven at probably 250 or even 300 to just crunch them up again. So that was that. And then the other question, I'm totally drawing a blank. What was the other question?
That's okay. Preventing the potatoes from turning brown.
So just like I showed how you strain the potatoes, I think if you're gonna shred the potatoes ahead of time, keep them in water in the fridge, shredded, which is totally fine. And then when you go to, add the eggs and start the process, just do the same, drain it of all the water, and that will keep the potatoes from turning brown.
Perfect. There actually is one more thing that I almost forgot about. We have a cookbook giveaway,
Yes.
of course. So Danielle, do you want to take it away?
Sure. So one lucky winner is getting my Variations cookbook. I'll remind you which one it is. It's most recent. So this is it. Yay. And the winner is Samantha Kushmir. Is that possible? Are you here? Yay.
Maybe Samantha, if you don't mind just typing you're here in the chat.
Okay. Okay, well, I guess message whoever will message you. Yeah?
Yep. Yeah, Samantha, I'll be in touch with you to collect your cookbook.
Okay, amazing.
Okay. So yeah, that's everything for tonight. Thank you all so much for joining. Daniela, thank you so much. That was awesome. It's really getting me so excited for Hanukkah tomorrow and to start lighting the candles. We have a few more Hanukkah events coming up. If you have young children, we have Smarty Pants coming to do an event with us, and then we are also having a beer tasting event next Saturday, which is going to be super fun. So if you're interested, check us out on Instagram, JNF Toronto. All the information is there. And again, if you haven't yet donated for Jaffa Daled, the information is in the chat, and maybe we can repost it in the chat so it's right at the bottom so people can access it. And as I said, we're so close to the finish line. We'd really appreciate it. And thanks everyone for joining.
Thank you everyone for coming, and happy Hanukkah.